Remember, we've taken the position that this construct called Ukraine can never change, that boundaries, borders are all permanent. No borders anywhere are permanent. Forget it. Our own borders with Mexico or Canada are not permanent. If you don't defend them, if you can't defend them, well, they're going to change. Let's be frank. The situation in Ukraine is similar. They tried to use eastern Ukraine as a battering ram against Russia. It failed. They mistreated, abused, and oppressed the Russians who live in eastern Ukraine. And that brought the intervention on, and the rest is history. We just need to stay out of it. And Lavrov is right. He will eventually craft some sort of solution that everybody can live with. Because quite frankly, the boundaries, especially in eastern Ukraine, have changed repeatedly. You know, you had several different people owning, operating, and running the place. At one point, the Mongolian hordes overran everything. And then you had the Duke of Lithuania, then the Polish-Lithuanian Empire. Then you had the Kingdom of Poland. Then you had the partitions, bringing in Russia, Prussia, and Austria. We can go on and on and on. The point is that it needs to end. And Lavrov, given the opportunity, will end it.
There was an article earlier today about one of the Ukrainian telegram channels, which has said that they observed that the main goal of this war for Russia is to prevent our membership in NATO. This war is not about territory, but for geopolitical interests. The Russian side goes on to say, listen, at the same time, the Russian president has warned that the conditions that Lavrov just mentioned will not apply all the time, and the next ones will be even tougher. We certainly have seen that in the different terms that were offered, say, for example, in December of 2021, to have forestalled the war. The ones in Istanbul in 2022 were not as good as that one, but still pretty good. And then we're here to ones that are a little worse, but apparently they can get even worse.
Well, look at the Russian operations in Ugledar and up near Kharkov. The whole Ukrainian front is crumbling. There's really not much to stand between the Russians and the Dnieper River and marching into Kiev. Let's be frank. Now, Putin's made it very clear he does not want to govern or rule Ukrainians. And he's not stupid. He understands the people in Western Ukraine don't want to be part of Russia. He's not interested in making them part of Russia. So he's looking for a solution that will guarantee his security. And he's saying, I can control this territory, and from this territory, I can ensure the security of the Russian people. That's really the bottom line. I think he's right. And that's going to happen whether we like it or not. They're not going to pack up and suddenly leave and go away. That's a lot of nonsense. As far as Ukraine's membership in NATO, NATO is crumbling. We talk about it's stronger than ever, has more members than ever. Oh, come on, give me a break. Most of the East Europeans, certainly Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, they're starting to look at this and say, really? Are you serious? Croatia, Slovenia? Well, why would they want to be dragged into a war against Russia? They don't want to be dragged into a war against Russia. They want this to end for all the same reasons that we do. This is all at the insistence of Washington and to a large extent London, our companion in terror. So that's about it. It is tiresome and it's depressing to hear people speak about issues that are irrelevant to the outcome now. The outcome is done. The war is lost. More Ukrainians will probably die, but there's nothing that can be done to undo what has happened. The question is exactly what Lavrov and others have said. Either we sit down and we come to a solution now, or we come to a solution later. And that means the longer this lasts, the further Russian forces advance.
Now, Zelinsky is in a really tough situation here because there is, I think, legitimate reporting that one of the reasons why Zelinsky hasn't moved to a negotiated settlement is because there is a right-wing element of his government that is so nationalistic that any talk, even if it's rational about negotiated settlement, they would probably take him out. But if he doesn't do that and he continues on with the fiction that they can win, then he comes under threat from his own people that he keeps sending to the front to die in a pointless war. So it's like he's in a no-win situation. And here's how he's trying to navigate that.
Today marks 2 months of our military operations in the Kursk region. And this is a very important phase of the war, something that has greatly helped and continues to help our country. Ukrainians have proven that they can push the war into Russia. And with sufficient support from our partners, we will be able to put pressure on Russia in the way that's necessary for Russia to realize that the war will gain them nothing. We will continue to apply even greater pressure on Russia because only through strength can we bring peace closer.
Is that even possible that Russia would get tired of the war and just sign a negotiated settlement?
No, 100% no. I mean, this is the sort of thinking that went on at the end of the Second World War. Adolf Hitler was convinced when FDR died that this was a watershed moment, that suddenly everything would change because the man at the top was no longer there. It made no difference at all. And of course, you know, the whole Ardennes offensive was predicated on the assumption that they could break through. We would take so many casualties and be in such disarray that we would all give up and go home. It's all nonsense. And the man is delusional, but maybe not. I mean, look, this man has squirreled away or stolen hundreds of millions of dollars. So have his compatriots. This is a black hole for U.S. cash and money. How much money have they made from reselling the equipment we ship over there? How much money have they made through organized crime and human trafficking of women and children out of Ukraine? This is a disgrace. We need to understand what we're dealing with. But no one looks past, the situation. They refuse to do that. No one wants to admit they were wrong.